My name is Jakub Olaszyk, and I'm Artistic and Executive Director of the Chopin and Friends Festival. And we have this Quarantine Talks series, online series. Today we have unusual, amazing artist, sculpturist from Italy, who is originally based now in Florence, but actually who comes from Modena, Italy. Enrico Ferrarini, a young, wonderful, creative sculpturist who got many achievements and awards in Italy and abroad, but he's home in Florence. Right. We will talk about his difficult times in these quarantine times for the artists in Italy, also for the sculpturists, also about the life in Florence. We have a few questions also about the shop and maybe some connection with his works. He will share us his also process. So everything will be during this conversation. First of all, I want to say hello to Enrico and thank you for being with us.
Hello, Jacob. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me.
It's an honor and pleasure.
Very honored and very flattered. Thank you so much.
Yes, what I want to first say about this, why is it unusual? Because when I saw your sculptures, I was very fascinated because you can later see those also on the website. But they combine the movement of the human body with the sculptures. Actually, there are not so typical sculptures. And I would like to ask you about your ideas.
Yes. Yeah, you know, the idea comes out once when you have like different feelings in your body. Mm-hmm. Like we have one body, but sometimes we have so many feelings at the same time. And at the beginning, I start to try to focus on some form that can share these two feelings. That I start with this, it was like when you are very angry and very in love with life, but both together are very strong. So I will try to share this in the sculpture way. So how can you share many feelings in one body? And also because normally the sculpture is something that stays still, like it's not moving.
Exactly.
And I find very challenging this idea, and I try to start with the clay to create these different bodies and forms in the same different body. It's different form in the same body. Let's say like this. Mm-hmm. That was the general idea at the beginning.
But do you remember the year when you started to win like this? Where was this turning point when you got interested?
I start the Academy of Fine Arts in Florence. So I will start to study figurative art. Mm-hmm. And I was really in love with with all happening in anatomy and in the body part in an expressive way. And after many studies, that was 2010. I have to prepare my degree for the final year, and I said, I need to be more. I want to follow my expressive way, so I try to how can I say, evolve and create new language on my sculpture. Because I generally start with
classical training, yes.
Classical, like making a portrait of the model or bodies, bas relief. So after these techniques, it's good to have also an expressive life next to it.
This expression is very, very important, But I want to ask you about your education, going back to the roots. When did you decide that you want to be a sculpturist? And tell me about your teachers. Oh. What did you learn? And how did they inspire you for the future journey as artist?
Yeah, this is a great question. So I started to study pottery in my high school. And that was it was like an art institute. And they normally teach you to have a job after the study before the university. So at that time, it was really technical. Like we have a lot of work, a lot of hours for the workshop. And I normally make, pottery, vases and painting. And so one of the teacher that saw me working with clay, he told me, why don't you try to make a portrait of a saint, San Pietro, I remember. And I said, yeah, I will try. So I try, and then this teacher asked me, what if you have your space and you come here like 1 hour before and you try to do some more figurative art? So after this, I have my drawing teacher that I thank him, because now he's not with us anymore, but he trained me. He trained me, how can I say, when you have a wonderful teacher that gives you the passion about the in this case it was drawing and art, and he was basically telling me with art you can do everything and there is no limits, so he told me you should continue after the high school. So after that I start to think about it and I say, okay, I need to follow what I do like, so what can I say, I start to sorry.
No problem. Started to thinking, or maybe started to.
I start to I start to believe in art. So I don't say when they ask me when you decide, I actually never decide, I think, because I probably connect this study with the work that I did in my teenager, because I was working in a farm. So I was continually working with the ground, with the land, and working with clay is also working with earth. So creating with something with what you have under your feet. So then I choose to go in the Academy of Fine Arts. And then the day that I've been in Florence, I was 18, and I first go in the Academy. And when I go inside the Academy, I saw a garden full of people. They was chiseling marble. And all the sound and the view, it makes me, when you fall in love and you say, okay, this is the place that I have to be.
This is it.
Yeah, and that was the beginning. And then when you go, when I went in Florence the first time, I see this beautiful city, and you can really breathe the how to say the history,
right?
Yeah.
The background.
You can every street, it gives you inspiration. Every square you
heritage,
go,
heritage of the city.
It was really, really amazing. And this is also what I'm saying now to my students when they have to choose which way or which academy they want to follow. I always say it's better if you choose the city where you want to live for the next 3 years, because this city is really give you a lot of inspiration. And I don't want to say that it's where everything had started, but there was a lot happened in this city, and you can feel it from the ground and from the walls of it.
And that's great, but you mentioned very important things. I just want to say about the teacher that he said you can do whatever you want because you have freedom in art, right? In imagination, the spirit of imagination is very important. Yes. But now you teach your students, and do you think that you can teach sculptures, or maybe you can only teach techniques? I'm very curious for the musical perspective, if we can compare, because I can compare from musical point of view.
Yes.
How is the process of teaching students if you teach techniques or teach art, because those are different things, right?
This is also another amazing question, because it's one of the points that I'm working on now. Because I started to teach when I was 23, and now I am 34. So when I was 23, everything was new. Yeah. I was really young, and when you're feeling not confident sometimes, but during the years, I start to understand what is really important for a teacher is to understand the students that you have in front of you. And my feeling is that you need to be really empathic with people. You need to listen to them, understand their needed, and also understand the experience that they have in their life. Because for me, teaching art, I would say visual art, it's more about having how can I say, giving the key to the students to be more confident, to trust, and to believe that he can do art. He can create, he can draw, he can paint, he can sculpt, and he can also find a new language to explain himself. And I'm trying to find new ways and new methods on visual education. So it's more
in teaching, right?
Yeah. So it's more like, for example, now in my studio I have 4 students, and each student have a different program. I create a program for each student that I have, because somebody, for example, come in the studio that is already 34 or 35, and he's previously studied something else, and he wants to change completely. But the brain is very structured sometimes. For example, I had students, they study political science or mathematics or physics, and when it comes to the drawing, like for example, you need to draw an apple, the brain is really competitive with the eyes. So sometimes the students tell you like, I see the apple, but I cannot draw it. And I always say it's your brain that is fighting, because you can draw, because you can see it. So if you see it, you can draw. So you just need to let the brain cut the process between your eyes and your hand, you know.
So techniques, then you eliminate techniques, because actually techniques come from imagination. Because
well,
then you don't need to have techniques. Imagination creates your techniques.
Yeah, no, okay, you say it right. The techniques come with the work, of course. So it's good to have
hard work.
Two ways, like the technical and expressive work. No?
Yeah.
They should go combine it together. Otherwise, you're very good in technique, but very bad in expression, or you're very good in expression, but the result is not really, how you say, beautiful. Or you know, techniques is always, it's important, but they are both important. We should find a new word that comes between technique and expression. So that's what I'm trying to do now. So teaching it gives you new inspiration. Every question the student asks you, it's a new things that, okay, how can I solve? How can I explain? Which word I need to use?
Enrico, during quarantine, during pandemic, when it hit very strong, the Italy, how did you deal with teaching students, probably online, and how did it work?
Yeah. At that time I was teaching to a master group in a private academy here in Florence. And remember it was October probably, and we start to hear these things from China, and then we didn't get so worried. I have to say, you know, Italians are always too much.
Very positive, optimistic.
Very positive. Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem.
Nothing is gonna come. Yeah. We're good here. But then suddenly we start to hear about the north of Italy, and then slowly in a few weeks everywhere it was this COVID situation. So we decided to shut down the school, and everybody was home, and we start to say, how are we going to go ahead?
Exactly.
Because you cannot, you know, it was hard. We tried to work with Zoom, also with Skype and online talk
in this way.
But it wasn't the same. I mean, it almost for somebody who's teaching drawing or painting or sculpture, doing by a screen is too far away. You cannot feel the energy. You cannot feel the situation in the room. So I have to say, I didn't accept this way, and I said to the school, I say, we cannot go ahead. We should, you know, try to maybe continue a line about studies, personal study of a student, and maybe see what they can do at home, because actually everybody was at home. And in a way, it was a creative moment for them. So we decided to create a group of work that can explain and share this ideas about this pandemic situation. And when the COVID went a little bit more off after 1 year, we make a little show in the school with just the students and some of us to see the works. And it was hard. It was very it was a difficult time, but it's in sort of way very creative. And I think also everyone, I mean, I speak about myself, have the time to think and feel more about what is important in life, no? What is important for you, your time, how are you going to spend your time in this life? You know, it's we had time to focus more on our life, because normally we are rushing.
This time also, did you find that the students struggles, and you as an artist, with the inspiration? Was it a struggle? I mean, in the terms of work.
Okay, so at the beginning it was a new things to do. So for example, I was home, and I was lucky that I have a little piece of garden. So I basically start to work with plants. I didn't try to bring marble at home, because of course it's the space is not available, but I said, how can I do here and work with what I have? Exactly. So I start to study, reading books about neuroscience, about creativity. So I was basically doing something art with my plants, and studying some neuroscience for art to evolve more the teaching way. And basically this. So when I was home, I tried to work with structure made by brushes, like plants, and then try to grow plants around this structure. So to create some kind of a sculpture plants. But yeah, it was interesting, but at the end it didn't work well. But
it didn't work.
No. At the end, I was more working in my vegetable garden at the end of the day. And the other question you sent me, can you repeat? You sent me...
Yes. The other question was that the situation is getting now better, right? I know the beginning of the pandemic, but now the situation is getting better because for sure, as I've heard, the galleries, everything was closed, shut down. Artists didn't have exhibitions, probably also a lot of your performances or maybe like exhibitions got canceled, right? But now it's getting better, right?
Yeah. Now almost of the people in Florence got vaccinated.
Okay.
Not all of them, but we need to be free. And but now, tourists are back. We see people going to the museum. The Uffizi are open again, and I must say that when the pandemic was still on, but they let people go around the city, see Florence without all the tourism, because normally it's very crowded, very busy. It was
depressing.
I don't know, like a movie. In a way, like a movie, because you're alone and you can feel all the space around the city. Because normally you go very close to people. And it's like, I'm sorry, but
New York was exactly the same. I called it a desert. It was a desert. Nobody was on the street. It was completely empty.
Yeah. But now the situation is back, so people feel more relaxed, more happy. Try to go back to have some life together, actually exhibition, and finally, let's say finally, we need to go back to our nature. Let's say it's nice to have time to be like how can I say, alone, reflection. Yeah, exactly. But also we are kind of social animal, no? So we like to share. We need to share. Without sharing, it's very hard life.
And I'm also thinking for the process under the force of artists, we like to share things because we do always many things comes. But now I'm glad to hear that everything is getting better in Italy. And
we hopefully we are in October now, so we are just seeing that with the second vaccine, everything is going better. And almost Tuscany is working very good with this vaccine situation. So let's finger crossed, because probably, I don't know, I don't want to say anything. I'm positive,
So let's maybe finish the part of the pandemic. And now I would like to concentrate also on your works. I think it would be very interesting for people, also for me, to see how you draw, how you start your project.
Sometimes I start with an idea, and some other times I start directly with clay or with a form, and then it's like a dance. No, you go with the form, you go with the environment you have around you. So not many times I start with a drawing, just sometimes. But here I have some study of deconstruction of the anatomy, because I was really interested in how bodies can be showed in some strong way, some natural and calm and very agitated way. And so I start to study some steps in how to decompose the anatomy in the body. So study basically nerves, muscles.
And this is the final sculpture. That's what you can see.
This sculpture is so, for example, this was a long process that I start. Everything is related, of course, of some moment of my life, but basically here I was having like two bodies. You can see calm and agitated one, and then in this moment there was like somebody was speaking to me. You see this mouth in the heart.
I see.
Sometimes they say, they speak into your heart. And maybe you can see it better. So
I see that. Yeah,
I was trying to, I don't know, to show or to plasma, to create something that can represent the moment that I was feeling that. And this, for example, this idea didn't come from a drawing. This was more like I start with an idea in my brain, and then I evolve it in this other picture.
But you have the moment of the transformation.
Yes.
The moment of the movement you keep, right?
Yeah. So, for example, here there is a detail that you can see it only when you go in the sculpture and you go closer. Right. I was having this. You see this baby next to the.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's basically a story, a movement from the childhood to the adult. Let's say adult. Yeah. And
life story.
Yeah. So when they tell you you need to see the world with the eyes of a child, no? So always curious, always interacting with what you have around you. So I was trying to work with perspective also. So I try to basically, if you watch the sculpture in the point, there's two eyes, they should be combined together or be one face. So try also to create a sort of metamorphosis of these two ideas.
Metamorphosis. That's different. That's different.
That is completely different. Yes. This is coming from an idea about, this is very strong. So it was an idea about how love, or the moment you get in love with somebody, and this is probably one of the pieces that I have almost get involved into it, because it's very personal. But it's basically what I was feeling about love. So love, you can say you can be in love for a long time, but for me, this idea is like when you fall in love in 1 second. No, it's one moment. 1 minute. So in
millisecond.
Yeah, there is also a sentence. No, they say it when butterflies can create a tornado in the other side of the world. No. I don't remember that. My English now it's not very good.
No, it's very good. It's excellent. Actually.
I would like to explain this, but in one moment, you can have a change of your life very big. So in
1 second, you can turn your life. Your life can turn.
In 1 second, you can see somebody, and then from that moment on, you can have a completely different way of thinking about life. So that was the idea around this sculpture.
And Enrico, you can show how did you start? That's the beginning. Oh, exactly.
From this piece, I didn't have a drawing.
So for particular, this one, okay, that was without the drawing. Okay.
That was in my brain, and
imagination. Okay.
Slowly it comes out.
Okay.
And this was another idea about a couple. Let's say a couple about lovers. So basically, we can be together sometimes, but we come from a different experience, a different life. Let's say not lonely, but personal life. So here I was trying to show how can be together in one body, and with the movement of the faces, they can like feel it, like here, for example, the previous life and then together life, single life and then together life. And
you are working with time and space.
Yes, exactly. In the
and
time.
The space.
Yeah, exactly. So also movement about the body in the time, and then this was the first idea. Okay, this is not another drawing. Then this idea I restudied a few years ago, and this was more. You see, here you can probably see a different technical way. So before I was working with the pen very roughly, very
different technique.
Very rushing, and here it's more. I try to get more detailed, and this idea.
But it's more punctuated. I would say in the music you have more points. Microstructures, micro.
Yes, you can see. Yeah, you can see like this. And here, this was the drawing, the project for the final piece that is coming. This one.
This is this one. So here, for example, yes.
Yeah.
We can see it came from the also idea to we're doing draft sketches, right? And finally, at the end, we have a moment in this sculpture, and it's like a dance. because in a dance it's very important, the movement of the dancers, of the human body, but it only catches the second. It catches the second, maybe the millisecond of the moment, but it is so meaningful. And I was thinking, if you see that, because you also mentioned that you like to listen to the music. I want to ask you, because music has all the constant movement of the sounds, okay? Even you have two sounds, the energy is still flowing all the time. It's not a sculpture. I'm always curious, a lot of composers, I'm asking my friends, even there are some pieces called Sculpture 1 by some composer, Sculpture 2 for orchestra something, because they think it's a static, very static music, yes. But your sculpture is against the sculpture because it's not static. It has emotion. And when you said that you listen also a lot in your studio. I'd also like to ask you about the Chopin. So does it help you? And
of course, absolutely. Music is something that it can lift you up very much, and it helps you also to imagine how can the body be lifted by music. So you can see also in this picture, these two individuals, they are basically floating in the space.
Exactly. Yes.
And I was listening a lot of Chopin music and classical music, and this music, they can go like very big, and then have this flow, slow, and then again big, and again slow. It's like
it has connection with Chopin. You mentioned Chopin, so you said you listen a lot of Chopin music because it's very fragile, very delicate. It has a movement. You are lifting up also a lot of this music.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in love with Chopin. I was listening a lot of Nocturne in creating this work. So absolutely, Chopin helped
music
a lot
of the
of
night,
artists.
you know, Nocturne is music of the night, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely, sí.
Yes, but you know, so it's very interesting because also when composers write music, many times they have to take a walks because they have to have some movement. When they're staying in the place, sometimes it's hard. I'm asking, some French composer can do that. I particularly struggle with that you sit on the table and you just compose, okay? This moment is not the most important moment when you compose. The most important moment is when you move, when you walk, when you talk. Those are the things because you have in constant motion. But when you are static, music is not static, you know, the conflict. And you have to go to music, but music is not static, you know. You can have one sound. But I'm trying to, you also are very much trying to, you are trying to go beyond that what you have as a sculpturist. Because as a sculpturist, you should keep the moment of something, right? But your moment is extended in time because it captures some frame of time, not the moment, but the frame of the time. And I want to ask you, because I was telling to you, when I saw this, your also sculptures, I was also in Metropolitan Museum, and there was this movement, Continuity in Space, in Italy, right?
Yeah.
And what do you refer yourself to this movement? Because you are also probably interested. Do you think it's a like extension? I mean, extension of the way of thinking, because of way of thinking, like for the Umberto
Boccioni.
Boccioni, the one of the most famous, right?
Yeah.
Sculpturist. So do you think you are following the similar path? I mean, in the way of thinking about the sculpture?
So let's say that sometimes somebody asked me about this, and I was thinking that I can be something in between. So basically, Umberto Boccioni and this futurism, it's the movement that happened in the 20s. It happens, they basically want to break this system of the romanticism life, neoclassicism art, and they want to say, okay, let's be more direct, let's feel more the rumors of the industries, of the motors, of the train, and the airplane. So everything was connected to mechanical things, no? So they start to create something which is more not attached to the classicism, like neoclassicism or romanticism, or more, I don't want to say cold because it's not cold, but more mechanical.
Okay.
And but there was no connect. There was no, you know, sometimes in art you can see the evolution. For example, from the Egyptian, from the Greece, Roman, and then Renaissance, and then Romanticism, and then Barocco, and then so you can see step by step the evolution. With the Futurism, they basically cut the new data. They create something that was really new. So I can try to put myself in between, maybe some connection in this.
You don't want to cut, you want to make a line.
I would like to make a joint.
Okay, joint
together these two moments, because actually it was a completely off figurative, and let's put more music, let's put more mechanism, like the view, for example, Balla, Giacomo Balla, Umberto Boccioni. And it's important that in Florence there is a place called Le Giubbe Rosse, which is a place where also people from lecture and the artists and musicians, they used to meet. All of them.
Collaborations.
Yes. They sit down, they take a coffee, and they start to talk about what you're doing, what we are doing now, are you writing on something new? Yeah, we are writing. And what are you doing in your studio? So at that moment, it was very, very important to share and to be together. And this is also a good example to what happened now. Now it's more hard to find a movement of artists. There is a lot of individualism. I say more not. It's hard to find a group of literature or poetry or musician. They sit down. I don't know. They share their thoughts. It's more about internet now. More sharing about social media, which is not the same. Let's say not the same.
No.
And
you're right in this one. I agree with this. But you also mentioned that you had a trip to Poland and you had a lot of collaboration there. And you were in Warsaw, the place where Chopin was raised and he came from. So can you tell a few memories from that moment?
Absolutely. I have to thank thanks Poland a lot. And then I have to thank this teacher and artist Grzegorz Kowalski from Warsaw, because we did a workshop at the first year we met. It was 2011. We met in Carrara, where there was like a prize about modern sculpture, and he did a workshop, and I met him the first time, and he was very sensitive. Very sensitive is not the way, probably. It was very, how can I say, empathic with the student. And at the end of the workshop, he asked me, next year you should come to Warsaw to my next workshop. And there we stay in the Ujajdowski Palace. If it's
Ujazdowski Palace.
Ujazdowski.
A beautiful place.
Yeah, and we was like 25 people from all over the world. Everybody have different fields. There was like a photographer, contemporary dancer, musician, and singers and painters. Everybody was from a different country, and they made us work at the beginning in couple, recording a video about dialogues. They tell us you have to dialogue with your partner, but without words. No, you need to use object. You need to use
gestures.
Yeah, gestures. Whatever you want to use, but not speak. And then the last work was all together in a theater with a camera recording on top, and everybody was wearing black, and the ground was also black. So you just see form that goes around. And in that moment, I really realized what this meanings of not only sharing, but be empath. We need to be really empathic now in this world. We need to understand the other person we have in front of us before, or during we interact. It was really emotional, how can I say? So Poland gave me a lot of good thoughts and a lot of also good inspiration for teaching also.
Great. But did you have interaction with Chopin? You mentioned you went to a concert, right, or something. I was thinking maybe at the end of this conversation we can play the piece that you like to draw, or maybe by Chopin, or maybe some particular performance. You mentioned you have some recordings. Do you know who is performer?
The Horowitz.
Oh, one of my favorite Horowitz Nocturnes by Chopin's.
Yes, yes, yes.
You
It was
definitely have to play one of
the,
them.
the Nocturne 6, I think it was the number.
Nocturne 6. E minor? No, Nocturne 6.
In minor. E minor.
E minor?
Yes.
E minor.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This one, right?
Exactly, exactly.
We played at the end of this because it is also has some connection with your work.
Yeah, 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 absolutely.
You know, but you know, so that was your first trip to Poland. Yes, you got these interactions, but you also were able to see the place where Chopin heart is buried. So at the cross.
Yeah, I have to. You have to be there. It's like when you come to Florence and you have to go and see the David. Yeah, you need to go in the church of Santa Croce, where the tomb of Dante and I mean,
Dante Museum. Yes, I was there. It was great. I was very surprised. So small bet, you know.
Yeah, that's a different life way.
So, such a different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Century. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, what are you working now, and what's your current plans for this season?
At the moment, I'm working on a new marble piece. So I'm organizing a show for the next year. And
2022.
2022. Yes.
In Italy, right?
Yeah, we try to be in Florence here.
In Florence.
In Florence. It's gonna be hard, but let's try. As I probably mentioned you before, that Florence is very conservative about the history that have in the town, but it's something challenging, so it's good to do it.
You know, when mentioned about the movements, I think sometimes each composer can have his own movement when it makes. Okay, you are in your own world. I think there so you can just follow your own path, own movement of being between. It is something postmodernistic in a sense of the way of thinking, because it combines past with the future and presence, you know?
Yes.
So that's also very important, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah,
what I said before about the sharing and the individual, it's something that you can feel it, but also it's stimulating you to do more, no? To get more interest in many fields. So reading, listening, you looking, searching, so it can give you many different inspiration, which is really important. And yeah, as I probably mentioned also, I had this collaboration with a dance group in Florence, a classical dance. And we have this collaboration in a theater, and it was the first time that I've been in a theater with my sculpture, and having this group, they make a choreography around one piece is of Bernini, one other piece from Canova, and one of my piece, and that was really touching.
Because your art has a lot of with the dance, a lot with the.
Yeah, there was this dancer that saw my works and contacted me, and they say, look, I really want to do something around your works. I really have a choreography in my brain, and I want to create something on your works. Would you agree of collaboration? Of course, I'm really excited about it, because a new word, now new things of collaboration was really interesting.
Enrico, thank you very much. Grazie molto for
thank you, Jacob.
Buongiorno? No, buongiorno.
Yeah, probably it's a morning there. No, here it's like.
So what time is now?
Now here it's like almost 8 p.m. Buonasera, it means.
Buonasera, buonasera.
Thank you so much.
So have a great day.
Thank you, Jacob.
Bye bye.
See you. Bye.